On right now, you're watching Casino is the Name. I'm here at my mom's house right now, and I'm gonna tell you about this. What this video is about. The video is about wealth building is a mindset. And the other day, I had posted a picture. You know, everybody right now is doing like these 10-year challenges and stuff like that. So I said, I'm gonna do a 20-year challenge. I posted a picture of me from 20 years ago when I was 16, 17. I was probably about 16 from that picture, but I posted this picture and I had a side-by-side picture of the same picture that's the thumbnail. So I had those pictures side by side. And of course, when I was 16, I was pretty much still in the neighborhood, still in the streets kind of, well, heavy in the streets. And, you know, I was just a knucklehead. You know, I wasn't really focused on a whole lot, but like just hustling and skipping school and enjoying being a wild teenager. And so what happened when I posted the picture, I wasn't really thinking too much of it. And a lot of people who knew me from that time frame of my life, they was hitting me up. Like a lot of people called me and was just like, bro, I remember you when you was like that. I remember this. Crazy to know, you know, that's how much you done changed. And so somebody commented on that picture and asked me, somebody I don't actually know, but they asked me, they said, what would I tell that 20, you know, that version of me from 20 years ago? What advice would I have given that kid back then? And, you know, I thought about that. And I kind of have this same kind of situation when I meet people who are still kind of like very much so in their struggle. They still haven't matured in certain ways or whatever, or they're so distracted by like, you know, their neighborhood and those things or whatever. What's popping, all pro? I think that's all pro. I can't see, I'm kind of far away from the phone. But like, it was when they asked me that, I thought about it and I said, man, you know, it's crazy because the only thing that I could have told, I really couldn't have said anything to that version of me at that period of time. And so that's what my response was in the comment, that version of me, there was nothing that I could have said because I would have been this one outside voice saying, hey, you can do it. You're gonna be amazing. Or just stop doing this, stop doing that. You know, go to college or whatever. I had too many outside influences that were saying the opposite. I had too much. I was in the streets way too much. It was too much reality. My reality at that time, or that kid's reality at that time, would not have allowed me to speak so positively about life and things like that, and even about his abilities and telling him about the you know, the possibilities that were out there. It wasn't reality for him, for that person. It was not possible for me to really get through to that person. What's good? I'm trying to see who this is. You know, I'm live, but I can't really see who's on here right now. Let me try and get on this other phone so I can see what's going on. But yeah, so that person, it's impossible for me to really get through to that kid that I was, you know, that person that I was at that time, because it was too many other outside influences. It's no different from turning on the TV and watching, you know, millionaires living their life and like, oh yeah, you know, this is what they do. That's great. It's kind of like watching people play in the NBA. We watch people in the NBA play the game, but we don't try to go to the NBA. You know we can't play in the NBA because we're not tall enough, fast enough, not dedicated enough. We know, so we see these people become lawyers and doctors and stuff on TV, and we're in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? And it's not a reality. So for a person where I'm from right now, where I live, the house, the car that I drive, that kind of stuff, like the things that I'm able to do, the trips that I can go on, telling this kid who's in this neighborhood who, you know, everybody around them is struggling, and, you know, we having conversations about food stamps. Yo, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, David. I think that's David McGill. I appreciate that. Shout out to you. But that kid who I was at that time, or that person, let's just call this a whole nother person. That person is impossible for me to really get through to with this oh, this is what life is gonna, can be like. This is what you should do. He already knows. He's already heard you should do this, you should do that. But his reality is one where that conversation, it's impossible to really get through to him. And so I had somebody else that was talking to me, and it's a cousin of mine, and they were about to get evicted from their place. And so they told me that, that the people weren't renewing their lease. They weren't really getting evicted. The people told them they weren't going to renew their lease. And so they had caused some issues, or people they were with had caused some issues that made the apartment complex say, you know what, we're just not going to renew your lease. And that's the right of the apartment complex or landlord or whoever that is. They have the right to not renew your lease. You can't force them to renew your lease. But they told them they weren't going to renew the lease. So when it was time to pay rent, they just didn't pay that last month of rent. And was like, you know what, y'all just got to put me out. And so they want them to try to evict them. They said, hey, take me to court, because I ain't paying. Y'all just gonna evict me, right? Because they were like, they understand the eviction process, and it's gonna give them more time to not pay rent and to kind of just like sit around until they can figure out where they can go next. Because they are trying to figure out where they're gonna go next. But they like, shoot, I'm finna look out for me. I ain't finna pay that rent, and they gonna have to put me out, and they have to do this or whatever. And in that same conversation, they said, so cuz, what, I'm tired of being in this way. I got bad credit. I want to buy a house. I got these kids. I want to do this. I want to do that. What can I do to like change my life? And I told them, I said, they were like, what advice can you give me to get my life in that place? And I told them straight up, I said, I could give you the money rules. I actually should do a video on that. A video on what I call the money rules or whatever. Because I can give you the money rules, but for you to follow the money rules is a completely different thing, right? I can tell you all of the things that you can do in order to retire a millionaire, to buy a house, to have savings accounts and things like that. I can tell you how you can take trips overseas and all of that kind of stuff by following these money rules to live a decent, high quality lifestyle. I can tell you all the rules of money, but it's still gonna be up to you to follow these quote unquote money rules. And the money rules, my money rules they only really increase probability. They can't guarantee success, even though it's pretty much guaranteed. I can't guarantee everyone who follows the money rules is gonna be completely satisfied in the quality of life that they achieve, but I guarantee that it is going to be better, higher quality of life than what they were gonna achieve without following the money rules, right? Now, I can show you the money rules, but for all the people who I know and I talk to, I tell these people the money rules and they don't follow. And remember, it's all about increasing probability, right? So I can tell you that it's proven. If you look this up, this information is true. 80% of millionaires have a bachelor's degree or higher, right? So I can tell this person, hey, cuz, go get your bachelor's degree in these certain fields. Because I'm not even going to just tell you to get any bachelor's degree. I'm going to tell you which bachelor's degree or which associate's degree or which trade you should get. And if you get that trade, you're guaranteed, I won't say guaranteed. You have a much higher probability of having a better lifestyle, a higher quality of life, right? On average, over the course of a lifetime, a person with a bachelor's degree also makes, on average, $1 million more. Now, remember I say on average because we're not talking about everybody, right? There are some people who aren't going to get a degree and they're going to make $10 million because they had a business or whatever, but those people are far and few between, right? There are currently, right now, 98,000 TSP, which is the government's 401k plan. It is now 98,000 TSP millionaires, right? 98,000. In 2021 or 2020, whenever this was, when they announced this, It's now 98,000 TSP millionaires. Those are 401k millionaires working for the government. 98,000 of them, okay? These are very simple rules. You do not have to be a rocket scientist to become a millionaire in retirement. You don't, right? But you do have to follow the money rules or follow some system in order to do that. You can't just be out here frivolously living, right? So let's say, I would say go get a bachelor's degree or higher in a certain career field. That gives you an 80%, that's 80% more likely to become a millionaire than without, right? Not guaranteeing that you're gonna be a millionaire, but you're 80% higher probability by having one than without. Second, I would say, also, by the way, if you could smash the like button for me, if you're watching right now, please hit that like button. But I would say second, pay things on time. Credit is important. In life, over the course of your life, you can get ahead faster by having good credit. Get some good credit, right? How do you get good credit? One, you pay things on time and you don't run up your credit too bad. You don't overkill your credit. But let's just say you do run your credit up. Like let's say they give you a $10,000 credit card and you run it up and you max it out. And maybe you just pay on it every month. But keep paying on it every month and try to pay it down as best as you can. But making those payments will have a positive impact on your credit at some point in time. You will show history that you've been paying, even if it's maxed out. You've been making payments. You've been paying them people on time. Somebody else might turn around and say, you know what, I'm going to give you another $10,000 card because they want you to run it up, but they know that you're also making those payments. So they're going to trust you and trust you and trust you. Now, making the payments and all of that, that's a whole separate kind of thing that you're going to have to master. But your credit is important, right? I got people who have avoided growing their credit, and right now they cannot go buy a house because their credit score is like non-existent. But they've done a lot of other things right. Like they have good income coming in and they have good jobs and stuff, but they just never took the time to build their credit. And so now they're living in apartments under somebody else's name, and they're trying, or they paid some money up or whatever they had to put down a larger deposit or whatever it was that they had to do in order to get into that apartment, but their credit score is just still so bad they can't buy a house. And so now they understand the importance of building their credit, right? So now they're trying to build their credit. So look, 80% higher probability of becoming a millionaire with a bachelor's degree or higher. So I would tell you, hey, go get a degree. Hey, focus on your credit. Hey, do this other thing. Hey, do this other thing. Invest. Put your money in 401k. Hey, do this. I would tell people to do these things, right? Because not everybody's a business owner. Not everybody is going to understand that kind of thing or whatever. But what my cousin, who I was previously talking about, would do, because in that conversation, they was just talking about how they were going to make them folks evict them, and they weren't going to pay them their money, and they weren't going to do this. Those things are going to affect their credit. That mentality is going to affect their credit. That mentality, when I told them, hey, well, you know, I told you years ago, cuz 7 years ago, I told you, go get your bachelor's degree. I know I should have went then. That's what they tell me. I know I should have went then, but I didn't go. Well, I know I should have went then, but I didn't go. You're right. I messed that up. But, I just think that that's going to take too long. I said, cuz it's been 7 years already. You'd have been done. You could have probably been making $80,000, $90,000 a year by now instead of 25. Had you done this thing, right? 7 years ago, I told you. You could have been 3 years into your new career, right? But instead, you decided not to follow the money rules. And you're still mentally going to go do this thing with making those folks take you to court. You got the money to pay the rent, but because they're going to not renew your lease, bump that, I ain't doing that. That's going to mess your credit up. It's all of these money rules that I said, cuz your mentality is not yet set for wealth building. You have to be ready to change. You just got to be ready to change. It is nothing that I can say to you that's going to impact you enough to make you want to change. And that's the same way I was at 16. I wasn't mentally capable. Am I still on? But yeah, I wasn't mentally prepared for money, wealth building. I could have got some money, right? But Could have been an NFL player, made $100 million, and there are NFL players and NBA players made 10, 20, 30, 40, $100 million, and they ended up broke. Why? Mentality was not set for wealth building. They can make money. You can make money. You can be a street guy, get 10,000, 100,000, 200,000, hustling, grinding, flipping, and end up broke or living in the projects with $100,000 in your mattress because you don't even understand the principles of wealth building and your mentality is not yet set up for that. And then you could be a guy who make 50,000 a year and you focus on building wealth and buying assets and things like that and investing, and you can end up a millionaire in retirement. Hold on. Somebody just said something. Let me see what he said. I can't see. Okay. Here we go. I did everything dumb at 18. Credit cards, new car, apartment, and an apartment that I couldn't afford. Yeah. That's the mentality, right? So when we start talking about mentality, I can't get through to certain people. It's not gonna be possible. I gotta go to my son. He got a basketball game. Aiden, come here. My son got a basketball game, but like, there's certain people that I just won't be able to get through to. Close people, people who watch me grow up, people who watch me go through the grind, who watch me study, who watch me stack, who watch me build houses, who watch me do everything. They were right there. Come here. This is my son right here. Got a basketball game, so we about to slide to that game or whatever. But you know, I was just talking to him about building wealth and things like that, you know. And you know what's crazy? I had told him that all of my houses he getting, my sister's stuff he get on her houses, he getting, you know, all of the assets that he getting left or whatever like that. And he's my only child, like my only biological son. So telling him, you know, all the stuff that he gonna get, this guy, you know, because I'm telling him like it's a lot of responsibility and this and that, and he's talking about, wow, because even my dad's assets from our side that were passed on to us, he's also getting all of that. He talking about, wow, Dad, there's a lot of pressure. Why don't you just have another kid? I'm like, what? You know, like this is the opposite of what I would have been thinking. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting it all. You know, so he was like, that's a lot. I gotta manage all that. You know, but he's gonna get a chance to walk his journey, so you're gonna have to live his life. So anyway, right now you're watching Casino Is the Name, man. If y'all could, there's a lot of us on here. Could y'all please smash the like button? Because we definitely got as many likes as people on here. I appreciate y'all, and shout out to David for dropping that 10 on here. I appreciate that. And I'm about to go run and take him to this game. Right now you're watching Casino Is the Name. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we are out. Would you want to say something?
Subscribe.